So we're going to look at this. Carter is 122 centimeters tall. So Carter, from his head to his toes, he's 122 centimeters tall. The giraffe, from the top of their head to the bottom of their feet, is 576 centimeters tall. About is the key word. About. How much taller is the giraffe? You can estimate the difference. An estimate is close to the exact answer. When you estimate, you get close to the exact answer. You can't just guess. So if it's like 273 plus 497, you can't say, well, it's about 1,000. No, that's not close. You didn't round. You just threw out a number that was bigger than that, and that's what you thought it was going to be. So you can't just do that. All right? So these are the ways that we are going to round. Now, if you remember last week, and if you don't remember last week, you really need to pay attention. But when we rounded 576 to the tens, remember this wonderful number line that we had to draw? And then I said we had to make 3 lines in it. And then I said, well, how many tens is there? Well, there's 57 tens. One more 10 is 58 tens. Halfway in between is 575. And then I had to put 576 on there and circle which one it was closer to. Yeah. Remember all that? That was the long process. Well, now you should be able to look at it and be able to know that it's there. And we also talked about another way where we can underline what we're rounding, go next door, and ask the question, is it 5 or more? It's 6, so it's 5 or more, so that means that rounds up, so it's going to be closer to 580. Okay? And then 122, we could draw that number line if we had to, if we really needed to, or we can underline the tens place, go next door. Ask yourself, is it 5 or more? It's not, so your 12 stays the same, and everything afterward becomes 0 because you're rounding. So it's closer to 120 than it is to 130. Right? This is reviewing for you because you're going to have an exit ticket that's going to be a grade during this class period. Now, you can round to the tens like it did here because we're rounding to the tens. But down here, look, they're rounding to the hundreds. So they're saying 500, I go next door. Well, it's 5 or more, so it rounds to 600. 100, I go next door. Well, it's a 2. It's not 5 or more, so I round to 100. So then when I take 600 and I take a 100 away from it, I get 500. So when I round to the hundreds, I get 500. But when I round to the tens, I get 460 as my answers. Now, compatible numbers are a little bit different. How many quarters are in a dollar? Tell me, everybody. 4 quarters. So it's 25, 50, 75, 100. Yes, good job. 100. So in this one, look, they're making compatible numbers because 75 and 25 go together, don't they? It's easy to subtract 25 from 75. So instead of rounding all the way, they're using compatible numbers. Everybody say compatible numbers.
Compatible numbers.
Somebody in here is going to come to me and read that word compatible numbers and say, Miss Aircraft, I don't know what this means. And I'm going to say, well, go back to page 44 and circle the words that I had you to say back to me when we were learning about them. And what is that? Then they're going to go, oh, I forgot. So, let's not forget, compatible numbers are any numbers that fit together. I love my tens because they're compatible numbers. For example, how do you make 10 if you got 7?
I don't know.
3. How do you make 10 if you got 8?
2.
How do you make 10 if you got 1?
5.
So those are compatible numbers because they are compatible. They work really well together, right? Okay. So sometimes that can help you when we're choosing to estimate because remember our I can today is we're estimating our sums or differences. So that's what our goal is today. Now we get to work on this wonderful word problem down here.
Oh, Miss Hedda, we already done that.
Good. An elephant eats 428 pounds of food on Thursday and 503 pounds of food on Friday. Oh, there's our word about. That means we're going to what? Estimate. We're going to estimate. Yes, I always circle and underline when we're doing word problems, and that means you should too. Okay? When you read through something, just like when you read in reading, you read with the pencil. When you read a word problem, you need to read with the pencil. About how many pounds of food does the elephant eat in 2 days? So right now, I want you to think, and I'm going to give you about 1.5 minutes to get your ideas down on this paper. Think about it. First of all, you should know that we need to write an equation, right? With an unknown, because it's a word problem. An equation with an unknown, yes, Weston?
When we were in like groups before we did this question.
Good.
Why do we have to do it again?
Is it? Do you have it worked out in your book?
Yeah.
Then I'm not giving you 1.5 minutes. Weston, tell me what you got written down.
9:30.
Okay, how did you get to 9:30? How did you get to 9:30 though? That's not good enough. Anybody else got an answer that want to explain? Gabe?
So I know 9:30 because I put 1 away from 5:03, and then I subtracted it. I added it, and that's what I got.
Okay, so maybe we knew on our equation, we knew we needed 428 plus 503 is going to give us our unknown, because I know none of my math students from last year wouldn't have done anything besides writing this equation down first with the unknown, as much as I fussed last year. Now, you should have the unknown, and then you can round. You can round this. If you want to round it to the hundreds, that means that will go to 400 plus 500, and it's going to give you 900. Or you could have even rounded this to the tens and said, well, it's 530 plus 500. Because, see, that still wouldn't have changed because it's not 5 or more, so it went to 500. And that would equal 930. So either one of those would be correct. Either one. Yes, Ace?
So you wrote down 428 plus 530. And then you wrote down 400 plus 500. And then, so you go up there to your question, then you see a 3, so you need to just put 3 into 1, so that's how easy you get 903.
But we have to estimate. That's the reason I showed how it rounded.
I don't know, I was just showing like how easy it was.
Well, it's because you're using mental math, and mental math is what we have worked on. Yes, Adrian?
I actually did the same thing that you did right there, but then I put 430 from 428.
Well, 430 is what you round 428 to. So yes, that will work. So let's look over here since we've got that done now. All right, I'm going to show you how to do one, and then you're going to have to do the rest. Okay? I'm going to start out with this one because for some reason, when we have our hole on this side, the beginning side, you all flip out. It's the same thing. This equal sign right here is just a balance. Think of, you know how you're on a seesaw? And you've got this side that weighs too much or this side that weighs too much? Well, an equal sign is just the balance. So if you have 11 on one side, you have to have 11 on the other side. If you have 15 on one side, you have to have 15 on the other side. So whatever the answer to this is, has to be the answer to this. Has to be. That's all that equal sign means, is they're balanced. They're the same. So, now, I'm going to write this down differently because I'm going to go 695 minus 205. And now I'm going to say, well, what do I want to round this to? Do I want to round it to the hundreds or the tens? I think I'll round it to the hundreds because this is really close to the next 100, and this is really close to the not going, it's only 5 above 200. So I'm going to say, if I look at my hundreds place, I go next door. Is 9 5 or more? It is, so therefore it's going to be closer to 700. Then I'm going to do this one, underline my hundreds place, go next door. Is it a 5 or is it more? Nope. So that means it's going to stay 200. And then I am subtracting, so I need to subtract this. So when I subtract 200 from 700, I am going to get 500. And that is how I'm going to do this problem. Now, you've got 5 problems here to do. Show me on your fingers how many minutes you think it's going to take you. 5 minutes, 3 minutes, 10 minutes. Ooh, I've got everything. Well, let's compromise. I'm going to give you 7 minutes. Right? 7 minutes. Hey Siri, set a timer for 7 minutes.
7 minutes starting now.
Better hurry up.